All right, we're starting a little bit early. The countdown was at like 2 minutes, but here we go. The HawgBeat Hoops post-game show. Arkansas just defeated Missouri 91-84. Second conference win for the Razorbacks. A good road win against. I mean, Missouri was winless in the SEC, but you take your wins when you can get them. Things kind of fell apart at the end. We're going to talk all about it. I'm Mason Choate, publisher, owner of HawgBeat.com. I got Jackson Collier, our basketball expert, with us, and we're going to talk everything Arkansas, Missouri. Appreciate everybody being with us. I know there's a lot of different shows you could be watching right now, so thanks for being with us. And before we get started, I just want to remind you about our partner, Bet Saracen. Visit Bet Saracen. You can get in on all the action as far as sports gambling for the Arkansas Razorbacks. Bet Saracen, the official mobile sports gambling app of the Saracen Casino Resort. That's where you can find the double R props. You're not really going to find prop bets like that for Arkansas basketball. So make sure you're on Bet Saracen. You can get all those specials there. Our pick for this game was the under, and that one did not hit. I felt good about it. I mean, like, I had the numbers. I felt good about it, but the under did not hit. 91 points for the Arkansas Razorbacks. No Devo Davis, no Trevin Brazile. You know, I mean, it was a storm of just like awfulness entering this game. And maybe that was, they kind of talked about it on the SEC broadcast after the game, Jackson, and I'll bring you in here now. Maybe it was just a Arkansas against the world mentality for the Razorbacks tonight. And you kind of saw them take out some frustration almost, especially in the first half, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It was one of those things where, the team kind of rallied around each other, given the struggle to start conference play. Um, the struggles have been well documented. 1-6 is the worst that they've been so far in the Musselman era. So, I think the players really rallied around each other and said, look, it's make or break time. Look at what we just did at home against Kentucky. Didn't get the win, but, might have been a moral victory situation. Might have been a game where it could have built some confidence. Saw Makai Mitchell play really well against Kentucky, had a career night tonight. And you see more guys playing more minutes and playing strong minutes. Jalen Graham played really well tonight. Layden Blocker, Tremont Mark's been playing well all season. So you have all these pieces that are stepping up at the right time. The chemistry looked really, really good tonight. They were playing like a team. I think it was just a continuation of Kentucky. And I think, it really is a make or break kind of back against the wall type of situation.
Yeah, I mean, like the performance that you got from the bigs tonight. You talked about Makai Mitchell, Jalen Graham. He fouled out, but he did everything, so that was huge. I mean, Keon Minifield showed up. That Chuck Barrett was talking pregame about how Keon Minifield was going to play, and I was like, okay, how much exactly is he going to play? Because he was a coach's decision, do not play against Kentucky. And then he comes and scores 16 points. I know he scored, a good bit of that in the second half, but I thought Minifield looked good. But I was talking to someone on the phone today, Jackson, about, they decided to go with Makai Mitchell and Jalen Graham, bring those guys back. I know you missed out on a couple guys in the portal, Grant Nelson, Hunter Dickinson, like some of those bigs. Trevin Brazile has the knee injury, and you needed Makai Mitchell and Jalen Graham to step up, not just in this game, last game as well. But like I feel like what you're getting from those guys is really good right now. And if you can like get the point guard play that you had against Missouri, now we have to take everything with a grain of salt for this game, right? Because it is Missouri. But like I feel like just all around, aside from the end of the game, everything was better, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Um, I look, I prefaced it on Twitter. The team looked a lot better, a lot better in every facet of the game. They were shooting the ball well at all three phases. They were playing really strong defense. They were moving the ball. They were forcing turnovers. They were doing everything right. Granted, it is Missouri. So there's that caveat you do have, but by the same token, it's a road win in the SEC. And those aren't easy to come by. We've seen teams across the country struggle with road games, not even just in conference, but in non-conference too, against even weaker opponents. But teams struggle on the road, and Arkansas has been victim to that. I think they're 2-6 away from Bud Walton Arena now this season, if you don't include Lipscomb and Little Rock or North Little Rock. So this was a huge win for them, and adding to what you're talking about with the bigs, like Jalen Graham and Makai Mitchell playing really well tonight, I think bodes well for the team in the future, because one area that Arkansas really struggled all season has been rebounding the basketball. And they out rebounded Missouri. I don't necessarily think Missouri is a great rebounding team either. I don't think they do really anything all that well. But it's another team, another conference opponent where you're out rebounding. And it's a stat that, if that holds moving forward, if they can even just decrease the amount that they're in the negative by on some of these rebounding battles and games, make it closer to even, or even win some of these rebounding battles, that increases Arkansas's chances of winning games astronomically, because they've been getting dominated on the board for most of the season, especially in giving up offensive rebounds, giving up second chance points. And that wasn't really an issue at all tonight. There were, I think, late in the second half when Missouri started scoring, because Missouri had a really productive second half. But the game was mostly out of hand by the time they even started making an impact on the boards and second chance points.
Yeah, I mean, I've been showing it here on the screen. If you haven't seen it, Arkansas plus 26 points in the paint. We showed it here, obviously 35-26 in the rebounding department. Yeah, I mean, that was definitely the big story for a while there. I mean, it was like 40 something to 12 at one point in points in the paint in favor of Arkansas. So like things were going well down low. I felt like, offensively they were trying to get the ball in the paint more. So that was good to see. 4 for 6 from 3. Like you'll take that. You'll take shooting 80% from the free throw line. You looked improved there. And just like the production that you got from the guys who played, like, the rotation was trimmed down, and we've been waiting for that, right? Like how long have we been waiting for Muss to trim down this rotation? And, he goes with a different starting five. I believe, I didn't fact check this, but I believe like this starting five maybe had 0 minutes on the season together, of Mark, Graham, Lawson, Blocker, and Battle. And then Minifield, Mitchell, and Davenport, that closes out your 8-man rotation. And it was really like a true 8-man rotation. What do you think of that? I mean, did you feel, finally they cut down the rotation, am I right?
Yeah, no, I was always a fan of trying to trim down the rotation. That's what I've said for weeks. Throwing out different names as possible guys, like, oh, ride him at this position, let him play through mistakes. They finally did that. I don't think there were any impulsive substitutions tonight. I thought when guys made mistakes, they were able to play through them. I don't think there were too many mistakes to play through until maybe the second half. In particular, but I thought that's what the team has been missing. There's a lot of consistency for this game in particular. Maybe that's something they can build towards for the rest of the season, is having consistency through their 7-8 man rotation, seeing what that can give them. Technically the season's not over. I mean, obviously there's a lot of games left. Their hopes of an at-large bid in the NCAA tournament are like 99% finished. But if this team gets rolling, there's always the SEC tournament. So, there's always reason to, still tinker, still try to figure things out. And if this 8-man rotation, this limited rotation that they trotted out tonight, if that is something that ends up working down the line, then, who knows what could happen come SEC tournament time. And also you're playing for seeding in the SEC tournament too, because on top of that, you don't want to be on the first day of games.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at the schedule just in the near future, you play at LSU, winnable game. You got Georgia at home. Then you got Tennessee at home. Tennessee, who just lost to South Carolina at home. At Mississippi State, at A&M. Then Missouri at home. Vandy at home. So, like, some of these games are really winnable down the stretch. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Hogdoor, been blowing it up. We got Jack in here. We got everybody. Thank you to everybody for watching the HawgBeat Hoops postgame show. I want to remind everybody to visit HawgBeat.com for all of our postgame coverage. That is HawgBeat.com. All of our post-game coverage goes there, including, post-game press conferences, stats, social media reactions, everything you want, plus just daily coverage of the Arkansas Razorbacks. And we also break down the lines from Bet Saracen, which is the official mobile sports gambling partner of HawgBeat.com. So make sure you're on Bet Saracen. I know a lot of you out there are. Tell your friends about it. That's where you can get the Arkansas-specific bets. The pick that we gave out, the people on HawgBeat.com were a little upset with me because it was the under. Did not hit. I'm sorry. I also never guaranteed a win. So
I will say I'm not going to beat you up too bad on it because the past 3 conference games, Arkansas averaged 57 points per game total, and they almost beat that in the first half.
yeah. Yeah, man, it was almost instantly the under is dead. And then in the second half, it was actually kind of crazy. Arkansas started the second half like 5 of 5 from the field. I don't think either team missed a shot for like the first few minutes of the second half. It was pretty crazy. Let's go into some live quotes here from Eric Musselman during his post-game press conference. Shout out Riley McFerrin, the transfer portal guy, normally hosting this show. But I decided to do it tonight. Looks like Muss is done, so let's hit some of the highlights. And this is Eric Musselman speaking. This is not from Mason Choate. This is Eric Musselman. I thought we played great basketball. There was a renewed sense of urgency, a focus. It was a team ready to play. I'm proud of their toughness tonight. Defensively, we have some things we have to clean up, but the team had fun tonight. When's the last time we had 10 steals in a game this year? Good question, Muss. They had what? I mean, they did have 10 steals, forced 18 turnovers. What'd you think of the defense overall, Jackson?
I was very impressed with the defense. Obviously, some lapses late, as I mentioned earlier, especially allowing some offensive rebounds. But man, and I highlighted on Twitter too. Holy cow! Leighton Blocker is one of the best freshman defenders in the country, possibly one of the best defenders in the SEC. He was fantastic playing defense tonight, on ball, off ball. He has great instincts. He has great mechanics. Really good footwork, all that sort of stuff. And he was really difficult to drive by tonight, which Arkansas struggled with allowing straight line drives all season long. And on top of Leighton Blocker, you had Tremont Mark playing similar defense to what it seemed like he played at Houston. Now, I haven't seen this side of Tremont Mark all season. He was creating steals, forcing turnovers. He was in good position. He was playing just really sound fundamental defense. Most of the team was. You had really good help side rotations, especially off of baseline drives from the corner, baseline traps, which I think the team. I came on here multiple post-game shows questioning why guards were opening up and purposefully allowing baseline. Well, I pontificated. Maybe they're trying to force a baseline trap, but the help is always late. Well, the help was there today. They finally started getting that baseline trap going, which I guess is what they've been supposed to do all season. Finally started working tonight, which really helped with forcing turnovers and just pushing down that shot clock and making Missouri take more difficult shots than they should have. I was really impressed with the defense for most of the game.
All right. If you want to get your thoughts, questions, comments, concerns, anything like that in on the show, make sure you're commenting on the YouTube or the Twitter. We've been putting some of these comments up here on the screen. So you talked about Blocker there. A big theme after the Kentucky game was Arkansas was searching for an answer at the point guard position. Like we said, you got to take the Missouri game with a grain of salt. It's Missouri. You're not playing Kentucky. Missouri hasn't won an SEC game. They've only won 8 games this year. But you talked about Blocker. We've talked about Keon Minifield a little bit. Do you think that the point guard position is in good hands moving forward? I know Tremont Mark played a little bit of point guard tonight. You feel better about it after the Kentucky game, especially with the way that Keon Minifield played after being a coach's decision, do not play against Kentucky.
Yeah, I would say I feel a lot better about the point guard position. Leighton Blocker played solid. Like he He didn't do anything flashy, but he didn't really make any mistakes running the offense. The offense ran well with him running the point guard spot, and that as a true freshman, that's really what you're expecting of him: is come in, do your job, uh, let the offense flow, and score. And then he obviously is an expert on the defensive end. He's very good defensively. So what he was able to provide was a little bit different from what Keon Minifield can provide. And Keon Minifield kind of engaged things offensively. He kind of made things happen offensively and made some great passes as well. Both had a few assists tonight. But I was really impressed with both. I think really Layden Blocker and Keon Minifield can even play together on the court really well. That happened a little bit tonight. So yeah, I think it's in good hands.
All right. Let's keep it moving here. So Bates scored 29 points for Missouri. We got to talk about the way that things kind of fell apart at the end there, because I mean, Arkansas was up by as much as 23 points, and that was in the second half. Missouri continued to just trim away at it. By the time there was 7 seconds left, it was a 6-point ball game. It's a 2-possession game, and Arkansas was up by 23. Something that we've seen before, as recent as the A&M game. I mean, how much was Arkansas up by in the first half, and then A&M came back? We know what happened. Arkansas ended up winning. So that's two games where Arkansas was up big, ended up having to kind of sweat it out at the end. I don't know what we know that Muss likes to play stall ball. I don't know if it was as much of the stall ball as much as Arkansas was just turning the ball over, making not smart decisions. They weren't taking great shots. Is that kind of how it felt to you, rather than the normal stall ball that we're used to seeing at the end of games?
See, I even tweeted out I completely understand the point of stall ball. You want to limit the amount of total possessions that are available in a game by, lengthening your own possessions. So I understand the premise behind it. And normally I'm in full support of it because it makes sense analytically, statistically, whatever. It makes sense. Tonight, however, I was very much opposed to running the whole stall ball thing tonight. And the only reason is, Arkansas played its most efficient offensive basketball of the season tonight, by far. And they went very, very early into the stall ball action. I think it took them out of a lot of rhythm. I think that contributed to some of the bad shot selection. I think it contributed to some of the turnovers and they ended up having as well, because they were getting anything they wanted. And I think Missouri did not have any sort of answer for what Arkansas was doing. So it might be a little bit nitpicky. Arkansas still got the win, and typically Muss has a pretty solid track record with doing his whole stall ball thing and still coming out with the win. Just personally, even though I normally have to defend going stall ball to certain fans, but I think tonight I was against it just because the offense was in such a rhythm, and if you are trying to build moving forward as well, I think they needed to play in as much rhythm as possible for as long as possible, keep feeling good, keep moving forward.
All right, we got about 10 minutes left. If you're new to the HawgBeat Hoops post game show, we normally go about 30 minutes. Let's keep this thing short and sweet. If we want to go longer, if you want to know more, if you want to talk to us more, I highly encourage you to subscribe to HawgBeat.com. We answer all the questions there. Everything you want to know. Sometimes everything you don't want to know. But so let's talk about Makai Mitchell, the birthday boy. I feel like we haven't talked about him enough. And there's this quote from Eric Musselman post game. So we always have a live thread post game on HawgBeat where we're giving you all the updates straight from the press conference. Shout out Riley McFerrin, the boy, the transfer portal guy. Where was it? This was about Makai Mitchell. Here we go. I'm just going to start at the beginning. This is from Eric Musselman. Jalen Graham is looking at the rim and being super aggressive. Offensively, he was outstanding. Chandler Lawson continues to do all the little things. And here's the big one, Jackson. When Makai Mitchell plays like that, he's as good as any 5 in the country. 19 points, 14 rebounds. He was just pretty much just dominant. I feel like that's the best way to describe it, for the most part. and this is a guy that we were talking about, 2 or 3 weeks ago as the effort needs to be improved. There were videos of him, not really putting a ton of effort going around the internet. Do you think maybe that's something he saw and he's turned it to this? Maybe he's taking advantage of no Brazil, or maybe it's just Makai Mitchell being like, you know what, I'm tired of this. I'm in year 2. I think this is his last year of eligibility. Like you got to do something at some point, and we're seeing it.
I don't know what switch flipped for Makai Mitchell at all, but I'm glad it did because Arkansas very sorely needed an interior presence because, quite frankly, for most of the year there was no good post option. There's no good point guard option, and there was no good post option. Jalen Graham and Makai Mitchell have come on really strong lately, especially Makai Mitchell. The effort, I think, is the biggest thing, like you mentioned. It's also some other things. Shot selection's been better. His shooting percentage has been fine all year. But sometimes he passed out of open looks underneath the basket for whatever reason. He's always been a pretty above average passer for the 5 spot. He has really good instincts and court vision and ability. We saw some of that tonight. Not all of them ended up going down as assists, but he was throwing some really good backdoor passes and skips, especially when he got it in the high post there on that soft zone. But tonight he was really he did a really good job taking what the defense gave him, especially in the first half. They were running that soft zone. He would get it at the free throw line, face up, and nobody would be there. So if Makai Mitchell gets the ball and he gets to go downhill one-on-one against a defender, especially someone like a Connor Vanover, he's going to win that almost every time. He's too gifted of an offensive post player not to be able to score one-on-one while already being able to go downhill. On top of all that, you have the effort and really the really good positioning he was able to get tonight, really physical play, grabbing boards, beating Missouri players to the spot and getting in position. Also, he was really crafty with how he moved his body and how he kind of pushed. Got away with a few pushes. I thought he finally got caught in the second half trying to get an offensive rebound or two. But overall, the effort was fantastic. Physicality was great. Just played one of the best games I've seen from a center in an Arkansas uniform in a long time.
Wow. Okay. I like it, man. If they can keep getting that from Makai Mitchell, that was pretty big. Mention here we go from Mello. Ain't no more Connors in the SEC. Hey, Connor Vanover, 7 points, 3 of 5 from the field, 4 rebounds. He looked okay. I don't know, not a huge Connor Vanover guy. So let's keep it moving here though. So we got being disruptive. Yes, thank you, Jack. Okay. Let's move into the Q&A. Last 5 minutes here. So if you want to get your questions, comments, concerns in on the HawgBeat Hoops post-game show, you have about 4 minutes now. So I highly encourage you to go to HawgBeat.com for all of our post-game coverage, and shout out to Bet Saracen for sponsoring the show. Jackson, we're not going to get into all of the rumors and everything that's surrounding the team. We're not going to do that. But I do want to talk about the way that this team performed with all of the outside noise. And do we think that, that's something that's going to continue to keep them motivated moving forward? Because we talked about the schedule. It is kind of favorable, with some matchups. You got some Tennessees in there. Texas A&M on the road, that's going to be tough. You got to play at Kentucky, at Alabama, so it's not going to be a piece of cake, but they could get some big wins. But it's so hard. It's so hard after games like this because you want to feel good, you want to be happy, but then you have to look at the opponent. So where are you at?
Yeah, so first off, answering your first question, I do think, with all the stuff going on outside of the program and I don't know what's getting inside the program or anything, but I think it's a good opportunity to rally together. And I think, that could have been part of what happened tonight. Like, let's go out and play, rally around each other, play for each other. And, if that's the case, it worked really well. Looking ahead, if they continue to do that, they continue to play for each other, they continue to compete, there are winnable games. They could end up being a decent season. I'm not even going to try to say it could be a great season, but you can sneak a really quality win here or there. You can win some games you're supposed to win moving forward, some games you're expected to win, and make it at least a memorable season instead of one that the fans want to forget. Um, maybe this team can go on the road and shock Kentucky, or maybe they can take care of business against Tennessee. Who knows? There's no telling, but I I really do, in my heart of hearts, hope that this is a sign of good things to come for the rest of the season. If for nothing else, for the fan base and for the players. I am supremely skeptical just because of the opponent, and because we've seen Arkansas play well one game, and fans kind of either buy back in or think, "Oh yeah, this is the turnaround," just to fall flat. That happened after the Texas A&M game. Didn't happen against Kentucky though, because they came out, they played really well, moral victory type, even though they didn't get the win. But then followed it up with another good performance. So is this going to be the time where they string together 3, 4, 5 good performances in a row? I can't tell you. I'll be able to answer it better after Saturday's game.
Okay. Last question here. Shout out Jack. He's been in the chat the whole time. What were you most excited about after this game? Jackson, I'll let you go first. Or no, I'll go first actually. Because I don't want you to take my answer. I'm gonna go with Keon Minifield, man. I really enjoyed watching him play when he first, got his eligibility, and it really felt like he could turn the season around for 3 games there, and then he just kind of went away. We talked about how he didn't play against Kentucky. But this was an encouraging performance, as Jackson mentioned. It's Missouri, so you don't know exactly if this is something that you can carry over, but you hope you can, because we know, like he's just like an explosive guy. He's a talented scorer. Can he keep that, and can he provide Arkansas with a legitimate option at point guard? Which we talked about Makai Mitchell stepping up when you need it, when you need someone to play well down low, no Brazil. Can Keon Minifield continue to step up when Arkansas needs a true point guard? We talked about blocker and everything else, but he could be really good and really big for this team, not only this year, but moving forward after this year. He's young. He's only it's only a second year of college basketball. So that's what I was most excited about. Jackson.
Part of me was most excited about Makai Mitchell because we dubbed Makai Mitchell our guy last year, I think, when we were doing this show. But I think what I'm going to end up actually choosing is Layden Blocker, because I have been harping on Layden Blocker deserving more playing time all season. I posted after the Kentucky game that his minutes distribution this season has been very, very, very confusing. He'd average like 4 minutes a game for a 3-game stretch, and he'd average 17. Then he'd average another like 5. Then he'd average 24. So it was like the biggest roller coaster I've ever seen for one player and their minutes distribution. Comes out tonight and he plays almost 30 minutes, grabs, I think scores 9 points, couple assists, few rebounds, plays just really well, plays fantastic defense, shows that he belongs in college basketball, shows that he belongs. He has a role on this team. So I was very, very, very pleased by that. Oh, Mason, this is breaking news. We have HawgDoor saying something other than HawgDoor in our chat.
Holy cow.
And it is give Layden minutes.
Oh, my goodness.
HawgDoor just said something other than HawgDoor on our show. This is historic.
Has that actually happened? Part of me feels like that's happened before, but I don't
Everything
know.
else he said in the chat so far tonight has been HawgDoor, and that's all he said in the previous shows has been HawgDoor.
Okay, here we go. We got more HawgDoor saying something other than HawgDoor. So this is big time news as we're about to get off of here. Shout out HawgDoor. Shout out everybody who tuned in. Thank you. We really, really do genuinely appreciate you taking time to spend with us and listening to the stuff that we have to say. So I encourage you, if you like it, visit HawgBeat.com, HawgBeat.com. If you forget how to spell it, it's in the title of the show. Or visit us on Twitter. The Twitter profiles have been scrolling on the bottom the entire time. So visit HawgBeat. And then after Razorback basketball games, be looking for this show wherever you found it, wherever you're watching, YouTube, Twitter. We got it there. And so we'll be there. Myself, Jackson, Riley McFerrin. We're going to get Will Whitson on. A lot of great stuff going on at HawgBeat.com. So highly encourage you to check it out. Yes, salute Hog Door. Arkansas gets the win tonight, 91-84 over Missouri. Second win in conference play, back above 500, 11-10. Moving in the right direction. We'll see if they can keep it up. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in.